Jojo on the radio, in the studio with, oh my God, Louis Tomlinson. How you doing, sir?
I'm all right. How are you?
Doing awesome. Last time you came in with Aoki, I think I called you Louis T. Which have you debated on using that name for like a rap-ish type single? Or?
I mean, I've been doing it on the side. Yeah, since you said. Yeah. It's been a big hit for me, actually.
I'm sure. Yeah, all right. Hey, we were just talking off the air. A couple of things to chat about off the air. I found this, we have this in common. You said you've been away from your kid about 2 or 3 weeks now, and it's so crazy to see, like, when they come back, that how much, he's grown or whatever. And my experience with my kid, I used to think that when they say, hey, time, man, they grow up so quick. I thought that when they turned 18, that meant, wow, where'd the time go? But I've learned that, man, you go away for a weekend and they learn like your kid learned a new move, you said, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. It's just fatherhood's crazy. I still haven't grasped it. My kid is 9, and best of luck to you and me both on this. and tattoos. You haven't all these tats. I guess I never added them up. This is our off-air conversation. I never added this up. But you have all these tats happen during the group, right?
Yeah. I also what bugs me a little bit about tattoos, and I got to tread carefully here because you've got some of them right.
I just have one arm here. Yeah.
Right. The only thing that gets on my nerves about tattoos, I get having meaning to them, that's great.
Right.
But some people come out with the most far-fetched description for tattoos, right? They'll have like a bird, right? Like this, there you go.
Right.
And you'll say, why have you got that bird? And before you know it, you're talking about freedom and you know what I mean? And you're like, but really, you've just got it because it looks cool, I think some people definitely obviously get really meaningful ones. That's nice. But you also get those people who try and find a meaning in a cool-looking tattoo, you know what I mean?
So in other words, they try to fit the meaning to the cool tattoo versus the other way around.
Absolutely, actually, yeah.
Let me ask you, why do you have the bird?
Because it looks cool. See?
And you haven't had a tat in, what, you said 2 years?
Well, I've had some little ones. Like, I got this one on my hand. I actually, funnily enough, got one as a dare on my arse about a year ago. Yeah.
Give me the dare thing again. Like, how did that whole thing...
I can't remember exactly how it went down now. But yeah, I ended up with a penguin tattooed on my arse, which, you know what I mean, is the least sexy thing in the world. I mean, what a mistake.
Sometimes you need a penguin on your ass.
Yeah, maybe.
So are you itching? Because every time I get a tat, as I'm doing it, it's like, this sucks. Because I don't care what anybody says, they hurt. It is what it is. But as soon as you're done, man, what would go good with that?
Definitely.
Are you itching already for the next?
Well, to be honest, I have waited for a while, other than the little ones and like the silly one that I mentioned. I haven't really had any for a while, so I'm not necessarily itching. I could just always, I could always go to the tattoo shop, but...
True.
It's just one of those.
Here's something I'll throw out, and the timing of this is almost impossible. I've only done it 2 or 3 times, I think. I've done a few tattoos on the radio. The first one I did, the Michael Jackson tat, the reason I did it, the first one is because, I didn't want to chicken out. Because if I walked into a tattoo joint and just by myself off the air, I would weasel out of it some way, but the fact that I did it on the air, I didn't want people to hear me kind of backing out. And then it kind of became fun, although it's probably kind of boring on the radio because all you hear is...
I was going to say, yeah, how does that... Yeah.
It sort of turns into just like we're doing now, but just so happens we're getting a tattoo at the same time.
Okay.
So if it ever times out...
I thought you were going to whip out a tattoo gun and then say, should we get one now? I would have been like, yes.
No, you'd have been like,
next
hell
time,
no.
Next time.
Oh, God. All right, Louis Tomlinson hanging out, you guys. Let's pause. Let's get into all this music because I know you have a lot of stuff, not just this track, but a lot of stuff to talk about. You guys do not move. Louis T in the house. All right, guys. Jojo on the radio in the studio with Louis Tomlinson. Of course, follow him on everything. Of course, you already are, so we want to get into that. But if you're not, do it. Louis, before we get into this track, back to you. I know that you are working on, or so I'm told, you got, this album. I don't know if it's a concept album or because I was told, and just stop me and jump into it, but it's a Kendrick-ish. Start to finish, it means something as opposed to random tracks. Now, that's easier said than done. Give me what's happening.
Right, just quickly, I'll remember this, but just side note, I'm being serious. Next time I have an interview, I want to get a tattoo together.
Really?
On the air. Yeah.
Right. So I tell you what, I'll let, we'll when
a little one that'll take like 5-10 minutes, but yeah, we'll do it.
Done. Are you in? When's the next time you're in LA?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what the schedule looks like. To be honest, I don't know my day today.
I'll reach out. Yeah.
Stupid. Yeah.
What is today? What month?
Yeah.
I'm with you. Hey,
Let's do it. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, I'll talk to the label. She's awesome, and we'll figure it out.
Definitely. That sounds fun.
Fist bump to make it official.
Yeah.
Bam.
There we go. Okay, so the album. So It became apparent to me when I had, because I've got maybe 75% of the album done, right? By the way, this figure, each interview, I've just been changing. It's been 50, 55, 65. Anyway, I think at one stage it was 85, so that was a great day.
Use like specific, like 83 and a half. Go with that.
Yeah,
Something like
well,
that,
in that case, it's about 72% done.
Perfect.
But it became apparent to me that it was kind of telling a story naturally anyway, just from the stuff that I'd been writing. And in general, the stuff is very, very personal and very honest. Maybe more honest than people are normally willing to go in, like, pop. I just think there's a lot of songs that describe this Hollywood amazing relationship. And for good or for worse, it always sounds a little Hollywood and a little kind of film scripty and kind of not really. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Like Instagram. Everything looks great, but that's not what's really happening.
Exactly. So I think, from growing up and listening to bands like Oasis and Arctic Monkeys, they say it so matter of fact. And that, to me, that's really exciting. So hopefully, although they do know a lot about me, hopefully the fans will learn something more from kind of getting to know, it's probably the last 2 or 3 years of my life, yeah. And I mean, I've got maybe another 2 songs to fit in, but I have to make them fit chronologically, you know what I mean? So I have to have a moment in those 3 years that I want.
Give me an example. Like you say, these super, without giving away, because a lot of it, well, all of it is top secret at this point. But give me one mini example.
So, I mean, any of my fans will know, I spent, 18 months, 2 years of my life just kind of real different to how I'd been in the past and just went out all the time, partying, drinking all the time, whatever. And then I kind of realized that I was a bit of an idiot during those times and I found my way back to my girlfriend. So, I mean, that's just one of the stories. And just in general, I think a lot of guys go through this. You almost feel, like you've got to go through that stage in your life, but that was never me. So it's kind of just telling that story, really, because some songs will make you feel like I was in the moment and like, yeah, I'm really enjoying this. We're in the club. This is great. But you'll be able to feel there's an underlining kind of.
So when you're going through that, you felt like you kind of you forced yourself to do it in a way, like this is what guys my age are supposed to do. But at the end of it, you're like, man, that's not me. That's
yeah, exactly. And it's just kind of looking back at the situation and having understanding of it. But the songs are written in present tense, so it's as if it was then. So like, at the start of the album, it starts, there's one song that's kind of up tempo and it's about going out one night after the other, being able to go, do you know what, I'm going to go out again today. And then as a contrast, right at the end of the album, there's a really like honest, sad track kind of reflecting about the whole time and how wrong it was. So hopefully, I mean, it's not going to be too deep. It's not going to be like, like an evening with Louis Tomlinson, get to know all his thoughts.
You're right.
But you'll definitely get something from it. Hopefully, I mean, from the fans' perspective, I just want them to be able to understand more of who I am as an artist as well as a person.
Okay, so I think I'm getting it now. Like you're talking about telling a story. It starts off. And granted, this is my take on what you just said. It starts off, this is how I was, this is what I, and then this is how I am. So how was to am, basically.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much, yeah.
All right,
yeah.
And then I get in this track, Back to You, featuring BB, Digital Farm Animals. This is the one you're talking about, making your way back to your girlfriend, I assume is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, but if I'm being honest, this is me being pedantic. I didn't write this song from personal reference, right? Because this song is talking about a relationship of 2 people that maybe shouldn't be together. Back to You is talking about maybe it's not the most practical thing and they don't know why, but they keep finding their way back. That's absolutely not me. However, to work on the chronological thing, it kind of does work on the album, but that song in particular is probably the least personal across the album. I wrote that. It was an opportunity for me to, instead of being so heavily involved like emotionally with it, it was nice to have a song that I could write from reference as a point of like, we've all got friends like that in those kind of relationships, you know what I'm saying? So it was kind of cool to be able to write from their perspective, because the rest of the album is all kind of loaded on me, really.
Gotcha. And before I go into this track, putting together an album, that tells a story, you're inevitably going to come across some tracks that just hit you, that are just amazing tracks that just don't fit. So you must have a stash of songs that next album, next EP, give to another artist? That kind of, you have those.
There's
those
a couple of songs that maybe we could give to another artist. There's one song that I'm kind of waiting on at the moment that I'm really excited about. It looks like it's going to get taken by someone else. So that's really exciting for me. You know, I really want to kind of prove myself really as a songwriter. So those kind of things are, you know, really important to me. So fingers crossed I get that song. I can't really say who it is.
Gotcha. Somebody I probably have met and fist bumped with at one point.
Hopefully, yeah. Maybe even got a tattoo with. Yeah.
All right. Let's go into this track, you guys. Back to you. Have anything else that needs to be said about this track, or is that pretty much it in a nutshell?
Well, other than, I mean, as an obvious note, Digital Farm Animals did an amazing, cool job on the production. I think anyone who listens to the track kind of stands out, so minimal and cool. And BB just absolutely smashed it on her vocals too. I mean, she's sick.
I've never met, I know BB, of course. I call her the tornado. She walks in, it's like a BB tornado through the hallways, and then when she leaves, the dust kind of settles. And I love her, and I've told her she's just a beautiful maniac. You know?
Yeah, oh, nice, yeah.
Oh, my God. But I've never met Digital Farm Animals. Where are they from? What's their deal?
So it's just one guy.
His deal, sorry.
Yeah, it's just one guy, although it's complicated because I think the manager is also a DJ as well. Anyway, that's irrelevant. This guy, Nick, who is really cool, maybe 3-4 years older than me. But this is one thing that I think is difficult within music sometimes. He's so good at being minimal. Often people overcomplicate things and think about the science so hard. But he's very minimal in the way he works, and for me, that's right up my street. So he's good. All
right, let's play this track. Of course, you heard it, but it's super cool to have you here as we do this thing. Back to you, BB Rexa, and Digital Farm Animals, of course. It is Louis Tomlinson. Check this. All right, guys, Jojo on the radio in the studio with Louis Tomlinson. Obviously, follow him on all his socials. Back to you. Get on that, or you're a bad person. Clearly, it's safe to say that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Louis, give me some details on. Here's a question I've asked I think I've asked this of two people. And I've got interesting answers. I asked Ed and I asked your buddy Niall. Let's say last 2 years, give or take, post One Direction. Not that I know you guys are doing the thing in the future, but since that, you know, solo.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been in a room, a public place, and not been recognized? And I don't mean haven't been approached. You can always tell when somebody recognizes you.
You can tell, but just to interject there, one thing that's difficult as a guy, especially being like a Northern British guy, when another guy's looking at you, maybe he's recognised me, sometimes comes across a little bullshit, you know what I mean? You're thinking, what are you looking at? And then you might have recognised me. But there's definitely certain places, and by the way, it's always random. I could never go to the same place and say I never get recognised here, you know what I mean? So it kind of just happens on different days. I think it's harder to be incognito when, like, say I'm doing a radio tour in like New York, and then, you know, all the every detail's online then, you see.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that, I mean, is there a part, I hear all the bad stuff because people want to, you know, hide and the pride. Is there a part about that that's exciting? Because I'm very famous, as you know, and I enjoy it, you know, for the most part.
Yeah, I suppose it's
Hope you don't believe that.
I suppose it's all very it's all exciting. I mean, like, exciting it's just an impossible thing to be able to comprehend anyway. The fact that my hotel might be on Twitter and people might know where it is, you know, like, even something like that is a very hard thing to ever kind of comprehend or, you know, or ever really understand, because it's about you as an individual. It's kind of crazy, but hey, they're amazing people.
It is just very surreal. Like, you've told me stories in the past. I love, you know, crazy fan encounters. And I think the one you guys told me last time was, well, girls getting tattoos of your face and lyrics, which is a huge compliment, yet kind of frightening, you know?
So let me touch on that, right? I come alive when I got something to say. You can see, can't you?
Yeah, I see them. Light bulb. Ding.
Anyway, so they quite recently, I mean, it used to be rare that someone would come up to me and say, look, I want a tattoo of a lyric or of whatever, and that, you know, something kind of related to me or One Direction. But like, quite recently, obviously, kind of surge of it recently, like the last 3-4 months, a lot of people come up to me, and often, you know, there's kind of a lot of people to meet, so it's kind of quick fire. So before I know it, there's like this girl right in my face, and she's like, hey, write me a tattoo. And I'm like, okay, what? And she's like, I don't know. And then and I'm like, but to be fair, love, this is a lot of pressure for me. You're going to have this on your body for the rest of your life, and you're just saying to me, write anything. You know what I mean? It's a difficult thing so I normally just do my little signature X's smiley face, but I could write anything. I could quickly Google what a swear word is in Chinese and write that, and she might have it done, you know.
Oh, you know she would.
She would, yeah.
Have you ever put anything, I mean, you've done the autograph, but have you ever put, like something super random just to see if they would do it?
No, but next time I am going to call the bluff. I mean, it's probably a little cruel, but I'm going to do it, yeah.
I mean, if they're asking for it, you might as well go. And plus, you may think it's kind of weird and kind of nutty, but for her, it would be, or him or her, it would be unique.
Individual. Absolutely.
So there's that. All right. Well, all right. We're hanging out with Louis Tomlinson. Back in a sec. We'll wrap this up. You guys do not move. All right, guys. Jojo on the radio in the studio with Louis Tomlinson, of course. This, I forgot to ask, album. There's no date set yet, obviously, but do you have if nothing else, just a date you're targeting? Not holding you to
I kind of got 2 dates in mind. There's a date, if I wanted it at the end of the year, I'm going to have to rush a little bit, and I don't really want to do that. I want to, and who knows, I might be in a position where after I finish this promo, I'm going to write in there, I feel like I'm in a good enough place to, but I want to be 1,000% sure before I do that. So either at the end of this year or the start of next year.
Of course, Kids' Choice Awards, you're doing that this weekend with BB,
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're finally, I've read some interviews where you almost, I was like, man, what's up with Louis? Do you feel like you're coming into your own, so to speak?
A little bit, yeah. I think it's still going to take time, It's just, I think what helped me definitely is, having Steve there at the start and having BV here now for the performance. I mean, don't get me wrong, before Jimmy Fallon, like a week ago, I was really nervous. I actually, I started off the song, sat on the drum kit. Now, I warned our drummer that I might leave behind a little poo. I was that scared.
No kidding.
Right, yeah. Luckily I didn't. Luckily I escaped that. But I was so nervous. But actually, for one of the first times being on my own, I did get a really good feeling after, a real kind of sense of accomplishment. So I do feel more confident going into Teen Choice. I like to just be honest about this stuff, you know what I mean? I think a lot of artists will say, oh yeah, I'm super confident, and strip it back. I'm not sure if they are, It's always just better to be honest.
I guess it's different doing it solo versus a group, but is it, you have been on stage in front of millions of people. I guess I wouldn't think it would be that much different, but apparently it is.
I'll tell you what it is. I mean, I've always felt like to a certain degree I got a point to prove a little bit, right? So in those moments, it was like, say, for example, there was a song in One Direction called No Control that I sang the chorus on. I was always really excited about it. The fan reaction was great. But on that song, I was so nervous right up until my part. So now it kind of just feels like that on stage across the whole thing. So I got to get used to feeling really comfortable and, owning the performance, which is something that is going to take time for me. Because also it's easy for let's say a rock star or a rapper, because they think they are the number one coolest, sickest, best looking guy in the world. And they believe it. So of course it's easy. Of course it's easy to carry that on stage. Whereas if you don't think you're the coolest individual in the world, you kind of got to, you got to work on the craft and work on what looks right and feels right.
Ollie Love, that's why people like you.
Hopefully.
Because how many of your, think about this honestly, how many of your fans think they are even if they are, how many of them think they are the best looking, most talented? Usually people have flaws. They don't put them on Instagram. But so that's why that is extremely, extremely relatable.
I think it's important, yeah, definitely. I mean, we're all just real people. Some of us get lost along the way, but I haven't yet.
And one more thing on the stage fright, well, not stage fright, but is it the anticipation more so than the actual performance?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because that's why actually I wouldn't call it stage fright. It is all
bad choice of words. My apologies.
No, it's all right. It's all right. It is all anticipation. There is some times where I'm just thinking of a million different scenarios, but actually, then from the minute I go on stage, it's like it's kind of a stupid analogy, but you can be driving on a motorway and you've been going 5 minutes and you're just on autopilot and you're just driving. Obviously, you're concentrating.
Been there.
But you're just on autopilot. And sometimes that happens when I'm on stage. I go into it and think, right, I need to sing this part like this, phrase this like this, make sure I sing this part with my chest voice strong, blah, blah, blah. And it just all goes out the window. You're literally you're not really there. You're just in the moment. It's pretty crazy. So then afterwards, I'm kind of kind of like kicking myself. Like that was kind of stupid for me to get so worked up about it. But
So I'll leave the house on the 5, like I'm driving on the 5, and all of a sudden I'll blink and I'm on the 134. And I've like, did I even remember driving on the 170? It's sort of like that.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, there might be a certain point, like maybe in the middle 8, that I'd rehearsed over and over and over again with my vocal coach. But to a certain degree, it just doesn't matter. I mean, maybe it's just me, but when I get up on stage, just everything like that, I just go into autopilot. So that's why my preparation up until then has got to be a good point, because you're just in the moment and taking it in and enjoying it and seeing, you know, the fans' faces and stuff like that. That's also why it's more anticipation for me, because, you know, we're lucky enough to have a really supportive fan base. So when even just the initial connection that I get off someone, it makes you feel super, super confident.
Yeah, well, that's obviously Louis Tomlinson, you guys. Louis, you're a pleasure. I love having you in. You're just one of these dudes that I'm just rooting for. You know.
Thank you.
I mean this in the best way. I think you remind me of me, because we're both. I think I'm a nice guy, and I think sometimes people overlook us nice dudes, but we're coming.
Yeah.
And we're doing our thing. So
and
that.
we will fuck you up. Yeah.
Right, that's right. Hope the bleeding team was working. Hey, before we take off, one more time, you really want to do a tattoo next time you come
100%. Let's do it. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna do a tat next time. We'll figure it all out.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
It won't be like a full back piece, because that'll take forever. But whatever you want to get.
Something small, super small. Take like 5-10 minutes, so it's not too eggy on radio.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're not talking like BFF tats, like I'm with Louie and I'm with Jojo. You're talking like your own thing.
I
right?
wasn't thinking matching tats, but we can think about it.
Okay, but on a serious note, I'm gonna really set that up. If you change your mind, hey, great. But if I'm gonna
forget
reach
that. I'm a man of my word. If I change my mind, I'll be to it.
We're doing it.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Louie, it's a real pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.